Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Trading Bitcoin. And last night we took a look at the bounce, the big bounce from the $7,600 area. I mean, if you do the average, I mean, Coinbase, I believe, had the low at just above 7,500. Bitstamp is my main source of Bitcoin price, and that one hit 7,600, just above that. Bitfinex stayed higher at 7,900. Now, I understand that I use Bitfinex on my daily charts, but that's only because of its history and because of all the drawings, and I can't really it's just it's a problem with Bitcoin. Like, there is no one good indicator to use, unfortunately. Anyway, let's go straight to the charts. I want to go to the pool, and I have a conference to go to, like the VIP events for a conference to go to starting at 2 p.m. today. It's already like 10 a.m. So I want to make this quick so that I can move on with my day. Thank you for all the comments, by the way. My last video had a lot of views. My last video had a lot of comments, and my Twitter is like blowing up with comments. So thank you. Thank you for that. DC seminar, people starting to register. New York, people starting to register. I need to update my website. I need to go through my Twitter. Right. Let's go to the charts, okay? So the weekly, that's the thing, right? Like, the weekly still looks weak. We bounced on the daily charts and obviously the 4-hour charts, 1-hour charts, but the weekly still remains in weak bearish territory. So we are not out of the woods yet, because look at the rebound that we had back on the week of July 17th, when the price of Bitcoin fell. I mean, the week of July 10th, the price of Bitcoin fell from $2,500 all the way to $1,800. So the price of Bitcoin fell $700, but it was like 33% in 1 week, like a third in 1 week, okay? But then the following week, the price of Bitcoin went up from that 1,800 area where it bounced the prior week, and it closed the week all the way at 2,700, right? So after it fell like 33%, it pretty much almost doubled the following week, right? And we closed that week higher than the prior week. That is a monster strong weekly bounce, and it set us up for 6 months of upside that took us from under 3,000 to all the way to 20,000. Like, it set us up for that, right? Same thing here. There was a bounce right here on a weekly chart from the week of September 11th of 2017, where the opening of that candle was 4,200. The low came in at just under 3,000, but it closed that week at 3,600, right? So it bounced pretty strong, and you can see how the wick is more than halfway up the candle by the end of the week. That's what I want to see from this current candle, where the wick is halfway up the candle or more, in order to be fairly confident. Like, it kind of happened right here, but this happened a little too early, which is why I wasn't all that confident in the candle 2 weeks ago, even though it bounced from the lows that week all the way back to more than halfway up the week's price. It just happened a little too early. This one is way more likely to be the low at 7,500, 7,600 than this was at 9,200. That's why I remained bearish all throughout this move, looking for that 7,500, which we just hit within a decent margin of error, okay? So let's go to the daily chart, okay? So again, this is Bitfinex, and Bitfinex stayed a little bit higher than the rest, but to me, this is pretty much a hit of the 70. And if you look, this line, this yellow line, the coordinates, they're actually at 76.12. So Bitfinex has always had their prices a little bit higher. So on Bitfinex, I mean, I kept saying 7,500 just for round number sake, but you can see how this yellow line, the coordinates have always been 7,600 $613. And that's because that was the prior high that I thought was going to be the high for the year, and obviously it wasn't. So what happens now? So people continue to, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, these people don't really watch my videos, so they don't really know. So people continue to question my call of this 7,500 year end, like high for the year. And then we went higher. So that high came on November 5th, when we had the doji on a 9 candle that, I mean, I was tweeting about, and I was like preparing for his multiple arrows to the upside on a doji candle. And then 2 days later, the 2x fork got canceled, and people thought it was going to go back up, and it didn't, and traders got screwed. It didn't go as low as I thought it would. Just like we came up just short of my $7,500 target this time. And then we started to go up. So what I clearly stated for everyone was, the moment we go back above 7,600 to the upside, we're looking at a lot of upside, because this makes it a double top. The high on November 5th, plus the craziness of the hard fork cancellation, the 2x cancellation on November 8th, just 3 days later. And then we break back and get stagnated for 3 days in the vicinity of 7,600. In the vicinity of 7,600. I'm really not sure why I was even saying 7,500. I really should have been saying 7,600. I was just going with a round number, because you can see this yellow line has been here from the beginning, or from November, I should say. And then we got stagnated at the $7,600 area for like 3 days, November 16th, 17th, and 18th. And at that point, you see this green line on the chart? This green line is at 8,000. The moment we broke above 8,000, I was very adamant about this being a setup for another huge bull leg. And this 9 was not a sell signal for me, because the double tops are unicorns. And I saw the prior 9 as a potential yearly high, but I did not see this 9 on November 22nd as a yearly high. And at this point, I expected much higher prices. Now, November 22nd on a weekly chart was coming into an 8, so I was at least expecting one more week of upside. And this is where I thought that this 9-13 combination on the same day of December 3rd, with a high of intraday high of just under 12,000. Now, 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back. This is where I thought that this crazy candle with a doji style candle that went up as high as 12,000 and as low as 10,200 was potentially the new high for the year on December 3rd. That also got broken the moment we broke to a new high. And then, okay, fine, another leg down. Now, where do I see a new high? Well, this 9, once again, was not the type of 9 that gave you like a clear high with only 1 day to sell the high. This 9 kind of stagnated in the vicinity of 16, 17,000. So I was looking for more upside once we broke out of that 9. But unfortunately, I didn't get one of my 9s around 20,000, so I couldn't actually call that correctly. Okay, so now we're going, why do I talk about the upside? Because the downside acts in reverse. So we just had a monster bounce on the daily, but you can see that even the daily, today's daily candle has not yet followed through above the 4 candle, right? So in order for there to be true confidence in this bounce, what we need is for we need to get above above the high of that candle. Okay, so let's zoom in. So we have to get above yesterday's high. And I know I'm in Asia, so my time zones are off a little bit, right? But the high on yesterday's candle was 9,200, okay? And the high on today's candle is only on 8,900, okay? So therefore, I really want to see this high broken to have, like remember with each step, right? Like, so far, this has the trademarks of a long-term bounce because of the way it bounced, the way you had no time to buy this dip, like just like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all you got, okay? So the way it bounced is a good sign for a sustained reversal. But we still need a couple of things. Oh, this is the high of 91. So this was, when did this candle begin? Hold on. It's 9 p.m. in New York. So 2 hours ago, this started. So, so we actually hit the high. Interesting. So we hit the high just a few hours, like 8 hours ago. So it was part of the candle. So it opened here, and it went all the way back up, and it's here. But yeah, so the close of your day is going to be tricky. But in any case, I want to see us get back above this line, right? So I really want to see us go back above 9,200. Thank you, Danny Man, for your generous donation. So right now, I'm still waiting for it to go above there. So what does that mean as a trader? So as a trader, if you missed the buying of this dip, this is not the time to buy. You admit that you missed it, and you wait for another breakout above these highs. Because if we get back above 9,000, the probability that we go above 9,200 and above this line on a daily chart of yesterday's high becomes incredibly high as a trader. As a buy and holder, I mean, anytime, I mean, like this was like, as a buy and holder, anywhere in this region below 9,000 is a great time to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. Okay, if you're a buy and holder. If you're a trader, at this point you wait because you want to get that breakout. You want your trade to be immediately in the money, right? And if you buy above this line, if you buy above 9,000, your stop loss, is going to be below the low of these candles. And the moment, over the last 3-4 hour candles, right? Like 3-4 hour long candles. Okay, so they're the lows, which looks like what do we got here? 8,500, right? Which we almost hit like 10 minutes ago. And once it goes above that, that's your initial stop loss. And then first chance you get, you start to raise it. You raise it to the tops of those candles, and you raise it to break even. Okay. Now, if you're a buy and holder, your stop loss is still below the low. Your stop loss is just below 7,500 on any exchange other than Bitfinex, right? Bitfinex is probably a little higher. So your stop loss is below 7,500 because here's the problem. It's a strong bounce, but we don't know if it's going to last. And I don't believe in double bottoms either. So what that means is that you should have already taken profit from this trade if you're a short-term trader. And if the price comes back down to below 8,000, I'd say on normal exchanges, and below 8,200 on Bitfinex. If the price gets back to below this red line, which I just drew on Bitfinex at 8,200 or so,
If the price starts getting back there and it's closing, if the price gives you a new closing low on a 4-hour, that's it. The bounce is over. And now we look for new lower targets. Okay, look, I want this to be the bounce. Like, I don't want to charge people $100 for US dollars for my trading seminars. I mean, they're worth a lot more than that, right? I mean, the price is going to stay at 0.1 Bitcoin. I don't want to see Bitcoin at 1,300, but I don't control where it does or doesn't go. Okay, so you got to be real careful here. As a buy and holder, this is not a big deal because this is a reasonable price to get in. And if you missed it, and you can always get out again and then buy it lower, or just double down if it goes lower, because Bitcoin will get back to 20,000 and beyond. So as a buy and holder, you're fine. As a buy the dip person, you're fine. This is a great dip to buy Bitcoin. And there's no such thing as a diversified crypto portfolio. That's just bullshit. Like Ripple and Ethereum, and they're all going to zero. One day you're going to wake up and you never even had a chance to get out. So the diversified portfolio in crypto isn't like the diversified portfolio in the stock market. They're very different. Okay, it's nowhere near the same thing. So right now, this is absolutely a no trade zone at this point. You gotta catch. I mean, a real trader just sits and waits for the perfect trade. And right now, we're in a no trade zone. And if you get below this red line, which on Bitfinex I drew at 8,500, on other exchanges it's probably lower, and the high of 9,000, so this $500 zone is a straight up no trade zone. And if you go below 8,500, you got to start looking at short trades once again, because the probability that this 7,600 would hold has now significantly decreased. You need a strong bounce. You need one more push, okay? Now, the good news is that if we make one more low in the vicinity of, like 8,000, you could get, let's say, divergence, right? But you need a little more time. I mean, the MACD hasn't even crossed yet, right? So if you get one more low and bounce, the MACD would be higher, the RSI would be higher, diverge. So it would be kind of like confirmation. So you wouldn't even get divergence, right? But I would be careful right here. I like the fact that I got my 9. I like that. I got a 9 with a green arrow here, so that's good. But I still need a higher. Remember what the rules are, right? What the rules are. When you get a 9 down, the highest probability is a 1 to 4 candle correction and then the continuation of trend. Now, this is the kind of 9 that looks like a nice bounce, but I still want to see a green number trade higher than the prior green number. That has not yet happened. The current 4-hour candle with the green number is not trading higher than the prior green number. In addition, I would also want to see it trade above the high of these two candles, which again has not yet happened. So even though there was a buying opportunity on this dip, if you missed it, now you wait, because it's possible if we go back there, this thing can have another giant leg down, in which case I would then put together a new low target, which I currently don't have, right? I don't have a new low target for you. I will have one if I see a lower 4-hour close. I will then need to look at the charts and come up with a low end target based on time and price. Here is the hourly chart. The hourly chart ran into this resistance line that I drew in yesterday's video, okay? Again, these pluses are, would like to see this 13. One more lower close, and we'll get that 13 going for you. That would help. Again, nice reversal. On the 1-hour chart, I start to get very worried below this blue line. This is Bitstamp. So the moment we close below 8,000 on the 1-hour chart, it's time to start looking for new bearish targets. Now, there is a chance that if you do close at 8,000 and if it's intra-hourly low near the close, like if I get a doji around 8,000, that would be a nice secondary low that's higher than the first low, okay? So let's see what happens here, right? But the picture is starting to look a little bit weak, because if I, where's my arc, right? So you can just draw one of these here, and then a smaller one. All right. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all, right? Because it's, oh, maybe I drew a little high. This is a poor man's cup and handle. And the height from here, from 9,200 down to 8,600, that's about $600. So if we fall $600 from here, we're falling to just below 8,000. Now, falling to below 8,000 here, it depends on how it goes down, because this may be something I consider a double bottom, or it may be a secondary low to just screw with the traders, thinking that we're going lower. So I don't know which one is going to be. I have to look at the candles when it gets there, okay? But as of this second of me doing the video, I'm also getting a little bit nervous that while the bounce was strong for 4 hours, it needs to follow through, and it needs to follow through relatively quickly, because the longer it hangs around this area, the probability mounts that there's another low coming over, that it's a great bounce to the upside. Now, again, we can go backwards in time on the daily chart and look at prior bounces and how strong they were. I mean, this was a very strong bounce, and we just continued to go up. This was in November, right? Again, a strong bounce. This is back in September when we bounced off of 3,000. We went back down, and this is what I mean. You see how you got this nice doji on September 22nd following a strong bounce, right? So this is what I mean. Like, if we go back down right here, if I see a doji like this staying slightly above, I mean, this doji could have come even lower. This doji could have come, a few $100 lower, as long as it stayed just in the vicinity of prior closes, but clearly above the intraday low. That would have still been okay for a secondary low that was not a double bottom because of this big wick, okay? And then we go up from there, all right? So I'm hoping that the current situation looks exactly like the picture in the middle of September. So go back and look at that. I know these things look like they're pointing to nothing, but if I pull up the full trend, they're now pointing to stuff, right? This was the picture that I used to explain the time indicator. All right. Other bounces, right? Again, right here, this is back in July, on July 16th. You can see how we had a doji candle after a 9, strong bounce, just 2 days of stagnation, and then boom, a stronger bounce, and it was over. Now we start forming bullish formations, and then we break out to the upside, and it was all she wrote, okay? And again, here, strong bounce, just 2 days of stagnation, a little bit of a scare, immediate bounce back, and then boom, higher, we broke the new highs, all right? Same thing here of this candle, all right? But then that one wasn't sustained. And then you can see how once we got stagnated, making lower highs, and then eventually this breaks down, all right? What I wanted to get to was the rebounds in the 706, the 760 area. This is the $900 bounce. If you go back to my Twitter and stuff, I called these bounces pretty well. I called the $760 bounce back in January, absolutely perfect. And then once again, the 915 bounce, absolutely perfect. This is how I started gaining a huge following early in the year because I called these bounces like weeks in advance to the number, similar to the $7,600 one, if it's sustained. And these two were sustained, right? So again, this is what I wanted to get to. So this is before I was looking at the numerical indicator, so I didn't advise people to sell the stop. I would have. I had a 13 and a 9. And right here, I was able to call this perfect bounce. Maybe if I was looking at the indicator, I could have gotten it wrong, but I wasn't. So I called this bounce perfectly. And again, you can see how we never even came back close to this candle, which is like we had bounced, had a few days of stagnation, and boom, one more up candle. This is what you want. You want that second candle. So if you missed the buying the dip right here at the low, your chance to get in more safely was right here above these 4 days of stagnation on January 17th, okay? Now, a little later, we had a similar one, okay? Right here, we had a couple of falls. We had this fall, and then you think it's over, and there was one more fall, right? And that second fall, it might have created a divergent situation. Did it? Probably not. No, it wasn't divergence. So that didn't help you at all. But this was a little bit trickier. I did point out that 915 was my low. You can see it here on the Fibonacci line, and I just missed it. It just went a little bit lower than my 915 target. But you can see how we bounced, and then we stagnated for 3 days, and then boom, one more bounce, then we take off, right? So that's what we're hoping to see again here. That's what we're hoping to see again here. Okay, let me get back to the current chart. Maybe things have slightly changed in the last 5 minutes, though I doubt it. Okay, so the daily chart still doesn't look all that bullish. Doesn't look all that bullish yet. Okay, but we are dealing with much higher prices. All right, here's the 4 hour. It just need one more big candle. Like the moment you see a strong breakout, I should probably look at volume at this point. I haven't looked at volume in God knows how long. But I don't really trust volume in this space, so I don't even bother. Indicators. Is volume an indicator? No, it's not. It's oh, they changed everything around. Where the hell are my settings? Oh, here they are. Volume, background. Where is it? Style. Guys, it's been so long since I looked at volume. I don't even know what the hell it is. Sorry, guys. Can we find volume and how to add it to my chart? Thought it wasn't here. Oh, well. Is it an indicator? That would be kind of strange. No? Oh, volume profile. Okay. What does this do? Looks like nothing. Yeah, I don't even know how to add volumes to my charts, guys. Oh, what the hell is that? I don't need that. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll show it to you on the next one. But yeah, I just type volume in the indicators. All right, so it is an indicator. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. All right. Oh, that's a strong volume right there. All right, that's strong. But now look, it's tapering off. It's tapering off. Need one more big push. One more big push. All right. Let's look at the daily. Let's get the volume profile in here. Probably make it a favorite. Yeah, you see? So here's how I read volume. To me, this volume is actually not red, it's green. because the majority of this volume bounced the price up. So the only reason why it's colored red is because of the body is red, but the body is so small that the body is actually irrelevant to this candle, all right? So to me, this is a green volume spike, which is pretty good, but not even as good as this volume spike, all right? So we need one more volume spike, guys. I mean, volume needs to be a little bit stronger. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. Right, see, that's a huge, strong volume spike followed by a volume spike that was actually a little bit smaller that moved the price a little bit bigger. I would have rather seen a bigger volume spike here moving the price more. So this is not the strongest of volume signs on this move. Now, if I take you back on a daily chart for rebounds, let me see here. Yeah, I guess the secondary bounce hasn't always been all that strong, right? Like this is what I want to see, right? I want to see there was strong volume. Like this volume is borderline red-green. This is neutral volume because the candle is a reversal candle. Reversal candles volume should be neutral. Then you had a big green candle, big volume, another green candle, big volume, and then boom, massive volume coming in here, okay? That's what you want to see from your secondary candle to be even more confident in that bounce, okay? Like this was a huge volume spike, but then this one here, see how small it is? See, there's a small volume right here on that secondary bounce, and that's you see this like limp going back down because there just wasn't enough volume here. Then you had a doji, and then you're going up and up and up, and then you can start to reverse, and then massive volume came in over here on these candles. This is back in October, right? So, but these are of course daily, right? So you still don't have like green candles yet. So we're not out of the woods yet, guys. It's you're looking much better. I mean, the current candle at the price of 8,600 is significantly better than the candle 5 days ago at 8,600, right? Like this candle, I'm like, oh God, like all hell's gonna break loose. But on this candle, it's like, oh, there's like a little more positive going on than negative, but it's running close, okay? All right. I think I talked enough. This was meant to be short. Clearly isn't. So a lot of people are asking what those numbers are, and also not. Please go to educational tools on my website. Please go to Learn Trading. Those numbers on the tops and bottoms of the candles are explained in section 6. Section 6 is designed for experts at sections 1 to 5. If you are interested in this indicator, please check out the consulting section of my website. And if you're interested in signing up for any of my affiliates, my affiliate and reference codes and discount codes are all in the affiliate and referral section of my website. All right, let's enough of that. Oh yeah, my traditional trade didn't actually close. I went to bed. I didn't even babysit it. I didn't close the day like I wanted it. A little down on that half of the trade, but I'll keep you guys posted. Next day, if I do an evening video and there's live markets, I'll try not to dox my account number again. I already updated the video, by the way. But it's not a big deal. There's like 2 FAs there. And I mean, anyone knowing the account number to my retirement, that doesn't really actually get them access to it. All right. Let me take maybe 1 or 2 questions. Let's see what we got here. Can you look at the chart for XBT H18 and XBT M18? That's BitMax futures expirations, to see if those charts have enough past data to give some kind of an indicator. I don't know. I was looking at them for Ripple. Wasn't really looking at them for. All right, I don't want to create new. All right, fine. New chart. Oh God, they changed everything around. Make a copy. All right. BitMax. No time. This will be like a general BitMax. I'll do this real quick, guys. Only because I'm a little curious myself what they look like. Oh yeah, I'm not even showing you. I'll share a screen in a second. No, let me share a screen now before I forget. XBT. So we're looking at H18. That's March. It's the Bloomberg convention. It looks the same. I don't really see much difference. This is the 4-hour chart. You know, gave you a nice top call here and potential reversal here with a breakdown. So that's when you give up on the bullish trade and you short. I can go to the daily. They look the same, guys. There's enough history here. Look the same. The March may not have enough. You know, sorry, the June may not have enough. That was the March. Whoa, what happened there? Something wrong with my moving average. Yeah, the June doesn't have much history. Yeah, so I mean, it should be the same. It should be the number. All you need is 4 candles to start the number count, right? Yeah, so there's just not much there, right? I remember looking at XRP on March 18. XRP, I don't know, H. There it is. Right, there's your Ripple, right? Ripple hits a 9 on the daily. And Ripple hits a 9 right there. And Ripple hits a 9 right there, right? So that was useful. Yeah, what a joke. What a joke Ripple is. All right, I'm going to close this. I don't really care. All right, next. Last question. BTC is rarely being used as a medium of exchange anymore. Is it mainly speculative gambling that's the problem? Well, it's not a problem. That's the reality, right? Like you guys are equating problems with reality. The reality is no one uses crypto for day-to-day transactions. This is the bullshit that scammers are telling you to sell you their garbage. Bitcoin is used for transactions all the time. The only way you will ever get me as a consultant is if you pay in Bitcoin, because I use it as a censorship-resistant means of payment, okay? No one uses crypto for day-to-day transactions. Walk into a store in Japan that accepts crypto. No one uses it. No one is probably ever going to use it until it's completely seamless. Why the hell would you buy your cups of coffee with a medium of exchange that you can accidentally put the wrong decimal place and send it to the wrong person, and all of a sudden you just paid $80,000 for a cup of coffee and you can't get it back? What idiot is going to do that? And I bet you there are idiots that are going to do it. What people have to understand is the reality of the situation and a libertarian dream state where everybody is happy and no one wants to scam each other. Meanwhile, everything I ever seen at like the anarchist conference is everyone trying to scam each other. Okay, so it's not for that. Okay. It's literally for censorship-resistant payments. Can that take Bitcoin to like $100,000 a coin? Of course it can, especially if the governments eliminate cash. But you have to give up the fact that people are going to use this stuff for day-to-day transactions. Maybe in the future we'll get lucky and they will. But I am operating under the assumption that Bitcoin and any other actual blockchain, right? Like Ripple might be used for it because it's not decentralized. It's totally centralized. Like Ripple is no different than the US dollar. Ethereum is like a technological joke, and at the end of the day, it's still centralized. All of these coins are centralized. So sure, a centralized coin will potentially be used for day-to-day transactions. Because guess what? If you accidentally paid $80,000 for a cup of coffee with Ethereum and you're friends with Vitalik, he can clearly go and reverse your transaction. Okay, this is what you have to realize about the difference between Bitcoin, the decentralized crypto, and all the other altcoins. Okay, and people just still don't get it. People still don't get it. Okay, which is why Bcash is going to die. No one needs it. No one needs it. Okay, now Lightning is going to bring down the transaction costs, but the only reason we even need Lightning right now for this year, next year, probably into 2020 is because of spammers. If there were no spammers, we wouldn't even need it because the transactions would be fast and they would be cheap. Okay, if they were only used the way Bitcoin was actually designed to be used for now. Okay. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And maybe one day, people are going to be willing to risk their entire life savings on a cup of coffee because they're going to accidentally send it to the wrong person. All right? And people just haven't figured this out yet. It actually frustrates me that people don't understand this concept. Like I know how to use Bitcoin, and now I got to say, hey, you know what? What if the cashier? What if I woke up to the cashier, right? I woke up to the cashier at a Starbucks, right? And the cashier recognizes me, but he doesn't say anything, right? Let's say it's Roger Veer. Roger Veer walks up to buy his cup of coffee, right? And the cashier says, "Excellent, sir. Thank you very much for shopping at or buying your coffee here at Starbucks." The guy's a minimum wage employee, and he puts in, "Please pay $4." Oh, it's a Starbucks. Sorry. Please pay $7.50 for your cup of coffee. Which is, yes, it's ridiculous, but that's the reality of the situation, right? But instead of $7.50, he types in his own wallet because he's prepared. He's a tax-savvy guy, makes about $5 an hour, right? Your cup of coffee is more than his wage, but he tricks you. And instead of you paying into the POS of the system, you are paying into his personal wallet. And instead of $7.50, he types in $7,500. If you're me, if you're Roger Veer or whatever, you may have that kind of Bitcoin sitting in your cell phone, walking around in your pocket, right? You pay trusting the guy. That's how much you're paying. You may not even realize you just did that. If you realize you just did that, he gets up and runs away and quits his job. Like this is the kind of stuff people just don't understand is going to happen all the time. Why would you want to risk spending $7,500 on a cup of coffee instead of $7.50? All right, think about that. Think about that. All right. On that note, I will call it a day, and I will see you all on the next one. All right. Okay, a couple more comments. When will Wall Street stop shorting Bitcoin? They're not shorting Bitcoin, guys. It just got overhyped. 7,500 should have been the high for the year. You know, I should have been right on that one. Do I expect price to be dramatically affected after Lightning goes mainstream? Not really. Not really, guys. I mean, maybe if there's less FUD and less bullshit about Bitcoin being slow and expensive, that would help. You know, people will stop buying the shit coins. All right. I'm off, guys. Talk to you all later.